21 years old, and I walk into a doctor's office. I walk in expecting answers because it's been an entire year of looking for answers, not understanding what's going on with my body. My body's breaking down. I feel like I'm a prisoner in my own body, a prisoner in my own life. And I need answers. I desperately need answers. And so that day, I walked into the doctor's office, 21 years old. And I'm expecting them to tell me what's going on. Tell me why it feels like I must be dying, because the pain is so relentless and so intense. And this came on so suddenly and it ruined my life. I can't work. I can't sleep more than a couple of hours without waking up in pain. Nothing's working right with my organs. And I'm just so confused and I feel so alone. And here's what the doctors say. I'm sorry, you're incurable. The best you can hope for is simply to manage the symptoms. Incurable. 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 Like, that's what they tell people who have cancer. That's what they tell people who are dying. And yet I'm not dying, but what I have is incurable. And I can only manage the symptoms. I feel like they've placed a label on my forehead, a label that they can see and I can see and other people can see, something that I have to walk around with for the rest of my life. And it says incurable. And the years and the decades stretch out in front of me as I look at my future, thinking, how can I live like this? It's been a year and it feels like it's been 10 years of this torture, this daily torture, where I can't work, I can't take care of what I needed to in life, I can't be the person I know I was meant to be. I can't live like this. And they say, here's some drugs. Take this for depression, and take this for sleep, and take this for the pain, and take this, and I don't remember what the other thing was for. All these pills. And I think they must know what they're talking about. There must be a reason. These pills are going to help me. And I take the pills. And I take the pills. And the months pass. And the years pass. And nothing's changing. Nothing's getting better. In fact, things are only getting worse. Now there's side effects that come with these pills. And so I have the original complaints, the original symptoms, and I have the side effects from the pills on top of that. And I still don't know what the fuck is going on with my body and what the fuck has happened to my life. I don't know who I am or what I stand for. I don't know what I'm capable of because it's so buried. All of my dreams and desires and aspirations are so buried, so deep inside. And I keep trying, and I keep doing what they say to do, and I keep trying to live my life. And it's really hard. Every day is a struggle. I spend sometimes weeks in bed, barely getting up. And when I am able to get up and do something, I'm back in bed and laying down. I can't make it through an entire day without having to lay down. Every day is a struggle. Every day feels like a fight for survival. And the months pass and the years pass. And it's been over a decade. And I'm sitting in my bedroom where I spend so much time in my bed that has become not a solace but a prison. It's a place where it's all I have. And I see my reflection across the room in the mirror that's above the dresser. And I don't recognize that girl. She is not me. She is not who I am. And I see her and I feel so disconnected from her, from my life, from my body. And I'm so confused. Why the fuck am I here? If it's just going to be about suffering and pain and agony and confusion and wondering hopelessly if I'll ever have my life back. And in that moment, I feel like I don't want this to continue. This is not what I signed up for. This is not the life that I want, and I can't do it anymore. And I start thinking about ways out. I start thinking, how can I just take a pass and step out of life? How can I do it in a way that causes the least amount of grief to my family and the least amount of pain so that I can be put out of pain once and for all? And I have a decision to make. I go through all the options, and it's what feels like hours. And I know that if I make that decision, it will be final, and there will be no going back. And I am not a fucking quitter. I am one determined woman. And I decide then and there, I'm going to figure it out. Somehow, some way. And I had no idea what to do or who to go to, what direction to turn. At this point, I'd already been to so many doctors. More doctors than I could count, than I could remember. I'd done therapies. I'd done so many things. And this was before the internet had really gotten started. And so all the information that's available now simply wasn't in existence, wasn't readily available. All of the therapies and all of the natural things, it wasn't there. But I knew I had to find a way. And by God, I knew I would, and I didn't know how. And so I started on my path with this one decision that would shape my entire future and allow me to become who I am today. The decision to be there for myself, the decision to create a different outcome than what I was having, than what I'd had for 16 years I was sick. And I also had to step into responsibility for myself and to stop putting the responsibility in the hands of my doctors, in the hands of my healthcare practitioners, in the hands of everyone but myself. To stop waiting for love and validation and approval from the people in my life, because I wanted so desperately for someone to say, I see you. You're not alone. I understand you. And I know you're meant for more. I know you're meant for greatness. And to start giving that to myself. We all have this power to start with ourselves. And so it was step by step. A little bit here, a little bit there. And I would backslide. I would backslide and go back into the old stories because my ego mind would kick up and say, you're sick. That had become my identity. You're the sick girl. And you can't. You can't do this. You can't do that. You're limited. And your life is only this big now. And every time those old stories would come up and those old messages and thoughts, I had another choice to make. I could buy into them like I had for so many years. Or I could say, that is not true. I am not that girl anymore. And I am not living that life anymore. And so I started to make the changes. I started to do things that in the past I felt like I couldn't do because they were too hard. And I started to be there for myself and be consistent and choosing to love and accept myself and not to live in that place of shame and hatred for myself that I had for so long. I chose to reconnect with my body, to be there for my body, for myself, and to keep making those hard decisions again and again, to allow the beauty of life, to be grateful, even when it felt like there was no reason to be grateful, even when it felt like, why bother, to choose something that would take me to a higher vibration. And little by little, it worked. And there were times when I wasn't sure it was working, but I knew that I couldn't go back to that place. I could not go back to that place. I couldn't go back to that place of not wanting to live anymore. So this has been a process, and I'm still in process. We're all still in process. Nobody finishes. I think even when we die, there's more. And what I want you to know is that you don't have to live the life that you're in right now if this isn't what you want. You can change no matter how dark and no matter how bleak it is. And I know darkness and bleakness and desperation and hopelessness. And you can make the decision to change. You can reach for help. You can let people come in and support you. I always wanted to do things by myself. I was a perfectionist, and I saw it as a weakness to ask for help or support, or to open myself up to all the support that is there for us all the time. The universe wants to support us and wants to be there for us, and this is all available to us. There's so many tools and modalities, and when you're in that place, it can be hard to put them all together. And it's still possible, and it starts with that decision. The decision that I made on that day, that my life was worth something more than just giving up. And I want you to make that decision. No matter where you are, I want you to make that decision. Your life is worth it. You are worth it. I believe in you, and you are not alone. No matter how it may seem right now, you are not alone. I'm Marcie Peters, and I'm sending you this message with so much love.